Unpacking Mormonism and Other Religious Trauma is meant for educational purposes only.
Hello, and a huge shout out and thank you to David Archuleta for putting our thoughts into the lyrics of your new song, Held Together. My question for our audience today, our Unpacking Mormonism audience today, is do you love your loved ones enough to go to hell with them so that they have your support? Do you love them that much? Because I think it takes a great deal more love to go to hell with somebody than it does to be exalted in heaven without them.
You can buy Trauma Bonded, a true story of navigating attachments forged in complex PTSD by me, anywhere books are sold, including Audible.
The world's most exciting podcast, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, New York Times best-selling author and National Radio Hall of Fame inductee, Michael Savage.
I'm Michael Savage, host of the Savage Nation podcast, home of borders, language, and culture. Be here or be nowhere. The Savage Nation podcast.
Catch the Michael Savage podcast on all podcast platforms every Tuesday and every Friday.
So I just wanted to say, David Archuleta, your words to your new song are inspirational and impacted our family in a very positive way. So Katie, did you have something that you wanted to say about that song? She's nervous. All right, Dad?
I'll start. So we actually just did a live show about something else, patriarchal blessings, and I really wanted to continue. We had the time to do it now, and I just wanted to continue because when Sarah played the song for me, of course, she played it like 3 or 4 times, right? That's just the way it goes.
5 or 6, maybe 12, who knows?
I asked Katie if she'd heard it, and she's like, yeah, Mom played it for me the other day like 8 times.
I think 7. I said
7. All right. So obviously some significant meaning there. There were 2 things that specifically stood out to me. One is from the song and one is a response to the song. In verse 2, he says, I'm afraid of letting go of the version of me that I used to know. And that has been one of my biggest struggles as I've transitioned out of the church because I was proud of who I was. I felt like I was a good person, constantly striving to do the right thing, all that stuff. And of course, stepping away, I realized that that wasn't always the case, but that's what I was trying to do. And it's been difficult to let go of that person because it feels a little bit like maybe at the end of a rope, letting go, not sure where the ground is, or you know, when you're swimming in the swimming pool and you just stand up, right? You're hoping that the ground will be there. And sometimes you don't feel it right away, or sometimes you do, and you're like, oh, I'm okay. It feels a little bit like that because who am I without all of that? And that's what really stood out to me from the song itself. And then there was something that, and I don't remember specifics, so I'm just going to kind of muddle through this, but there was somebody posted something on one of the Facebook groups that we're a part of, you know, ex-Mormons or whatever, posted something about this story and what it meant and all that stuff. And somebody responded. Of course, lots of people responded. In this case, someone that was a member of the church, still an active member from the comments. And what struck me was that person said something like, well, David Archuleta got it all wrong. You can't just choose what your heaven is going to be like. You can't just choose the rules. You have to, you know, God chooses those rules and makes those things up. And the person that had originally made the post was like, how would you respond? And I didn't respond at all. But as I thought about it later, I formulated a response. And really, what I would say to that person is, actually, you're missing the point. It's not about whether or not the Mormon view of heaven is correct, or somebody else's view, or there is no heaven, or whatever. That's not what the post is about.
It's not someone else's heaven. Heaven is not, doesn't belong to you.
And I don't think
getting lost in the weeds of the doctrinal implications of a song that was not meant to be doctrinal.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I've seen several responses like that. It happens all the time when somebody throws out their story and some Mormon or somebody else wants to say, well, that's not the case. Same thing happened like on a post recently about abortion. My sister-in-law comes up and she starts talking about all her beliefs about abortion, but it's not addressing what was actually said. In this case, what I would say is you've missed the point. What's happening is David Archuleta is sharing an experience about his experience with the church, and in this case specifically about coming out as gay and how he dealt with that and what that meant for him.
And his family
and then his family afraid to go tell his mom because his mom gonna walk away from me. Like there's so many stories of so many, and it's not exclusive to Mormonism, but so many parents will just walk away from their kids because they choose, quote unquote, a lifestyle that doesn't fall within their beliefs. And whether or not you believe that they're choosing, quote unquote, to be gay or that they are gay, it's not the point. In this case, he's trying to share this experience of who he was, how it was so powerful for him that his mom didn't walk away, that his mom loved him enough. And we don't get much of the story of mom. Like, I don't know if she had already read other things and she was struggling with her testimony or her beliefs in the church. We don't get that indication.
My understanding is that she was completely stalwart, 100%, all the way in, doing the best that she could, that some of the siblings had left already for differing reasons, and that within a couple of days of David telling his mother that he was stepping away, she first went silent, and then when she responded with something to the effect of, if I don't get to be with you in heaven, then we'll be together in hell. Right. And of course, that's paraphrasing what I heard from David's own podcast.
So from the song, we don't necessarily get an indication of where she was. We only get an indication of the way that she responded to him in the way that meant so much. And that's really the point of the song. It's not a doctrinal dissertation. It's not a stab against the doctrines of the church. It is a stab, really, against the way that people are responding in isolation, in condemnation of people who are doing things in a way that you don't think is right. And I think that completely misses the point of how we're supposed to treat the people around us. Maybe supposed to is a bad word. For me, it's the way I want to treat the people around me. I want to be loving regardless of who you think you are. I want to love you as you are. And I think ultimately that's what stood out to me from that post, is that you've missed the point. It's not about the doctrine. It's about someone's experience in feeling love and walking away from something because in that organization, they didn't feel like they could get that love.
Right. Well, and what I love so much about, well, first off, way to go, Lupe. That's David's mom. You are my hero. Goodness, I'm gonna start crying. I love the message that you don't have to live up to the expectations of others. You just need to be you, and I will follow you. I will love you. I will support you in whatever path you feel is best for you. I have children who are part of the LGBTQ plus
Not too nervous enough to do that.
Dad, I am proud.
Good.
She was proud.
Good.
And I have children that are a part of that population who are a little bit more quiet about it. The idea that a dogma or that a religious culture is more important than making sure that my children know they are loved, that they are valued, that they have so much to give this world, and that there is a place for them in whatever goodness comes after this is so valuable. And so again, I ask our listeners, I think it's easy to follow somebody on a path where they're doing what you expect them to do, what you want them to do, the ideal of what you've taught them their whole life. That's much easier than loving when maybe they didn't accomplish what you thought. And I think that, so many people in this day and age are like, we shouldn't have those types of expectations or hopes or dreams for our children. And while I say, okay, great, that's a beautiful theory. As a mother, I can't help but have hopes and dreams and love and, oh, maybe they'll do this. And I would love to see. And then being able to say, that's a dream. And it's only a dream. It doesn't mean that that's the reality, and that I will love my child with the reality that they realize in their own life. And that to me is beautiful. So again, what is the specific lyric, Mason? You pulled it up for me. Did you just get rid of it?
I did.
You person.
I'm putting links into the
Katie, did you have something you want to say? And then I'll.
I can find it.
Katie's gonna get everybody's blues. I asked for the lyrics before, and then they get rid of them. And I don't know. You're not you're not gonna go to hell with me, okay? You did not do that good enough. All right, here we go.
I'm gonna kick you to hell here in a minute.
If I have to live without you, I don't want to live forever in someone else's heaven. So let them close the gates. Those 3 lines. Yeah, and Katie's over here humming now. Thank you, David. We love you. Heaven isn't heaven without my family and without the people that I've dedicated my life to loving and raising. That, I mean, he says blood is thicker than pages. I'm going to disagree with you on that, David. I'm going to say love is thicker than pages because I don't share DNA with a whole lot of my kids. I cannot imagine heaven as a happy place if we are separated from those that we feel the safest and closest to. And if a religious organization or a dogma is going to preach that I have to follow all these rules, if heaven is pressure and I have to do all these things to get there, I'm okay with them closing the door on that ideal, and I will stick with the hell that lets me be with the people I love the most.
It's paradise's pressure.
I'm sorry.
The gates, not the door. It's the gates.
What she said. If paradise is pressure and it's gates, not the door.
Yeah, that, Mom.
Thank you.
That's the important part right there.
So, Mason, I love you enough to follow you straight to hell.
I think it'll be the other way around. I'm probably following you.
Your family would agree with that.
I'm sure they would.
Lupe, you're my hero because
I'm actually going to be reincarnated and going into the world of Harry Potter. So
okay, Katie getting reincarnated to go to Hogwarts. Lupe, you're my hero. You did for your family what our families could not do for us. Please keep living your best life, David, and keep creating. We at Unpacking Mormonism support you 100%. And yes, I am playing your song on repeat more times than my family wants to tolerate right now. Thank you so much. We will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Every day, we rise, challenging ourselves to work for what we believe in. At U.S. Border Patrol, protecting our borders is more than a job, it's a calling. Agents answer the call, working together to keep our country and communities safe. If you're ready for a new mission, join U.S. Border Patrol and go beyond. Learn more at cbp.gov/careers.